They say I don't know what I'm talking about, but I saw those strange creatures, and I'll never forget their faces.
They say the Kansas countryside sleeps in silence, but in the early hours of Hollow Creek, there are sounds that don't belong to this world. The wind moves differently there, and the corn leaves seem to whisper names no one remembers anymore. In 1973, Ezekiel Moore lived alone on a forgotten farm between two dirt roads and an endless sea of crops. He was a simple, rough man, his skin marked by sun and by harvests long gone. Back then, Hollow Creek was just a dot on the map, and maybe it would have been better if it had stayed that way. It all began on a September night. The sky was clear, the air heavy with distant rain. Ezekiel was putting his tools away in the barn when he noticed a green flash reflecting off the plow's metal. He looked up and saw 3 lights hovering over the field. They moved as if following their own logic. Slow, then fast, then still. No sound, no engine, just the hum of silence. The next day, he found the pasture torn up, the cattle restless, and strange marks in the ground. Perfect circles, scorched, as if something had landed there.
I thought I'd never see them again. But 2 months ago, the lights came back. 3 of them.
That week, the farmer began hearing noises in the middle of the night. Low metallic sounds, like chains dragging beneath the ground. The animals fled the stable, and each dawn brought something new. A burned tree, footprints too deep to belong to any man, a smell of iron and sulfur hanging in the air. On October 12th, Ezekiel woke up to a noise coming from the barn. This one was different, deeper, almost human. He grabbed his flashlight and his old shotgun and followed the sound. When he opened the door, the air seemed to stop. Inside, there was a white, pulsating light, not from any lamp. And in the middle of it, 3 motionless figures. They were tall, their skin grayish, smooth, almost translucent. They had no eyes, only vertical slits where their faces should have been, and those slits seemed to breathe. The shotgun slipped from his hands. He said he tried to scream, but his voice dissolved. Time, according to him, stopped flowing. The creatures moved in perfect sync, and one of them touched his shoulder. Ezekiel described the feeling as being torn apart from the inside, but without pain.
They spoke, not with words. It was like I could hear them inside my head, you know?
When he woke up, he was lying in the field, his body covered in damp soil, eyes staring at the sky. The barn was burning from the inside, but the fire didn't touch the outer walls. Neighbors found him hours later, murmuring over and over. They didn't come from the sky. They came from beneath the earth. Ezekiel spent the following years in isolation. The crops died, the well dried up, the windows of his house were boarded shut, and the rooms filled with drawings, spirals, triangles, and eyes. Hundreds of eyes. Time took everything except the fear. The night after the interview, the documentarian and his crew returned to the farm to film supporting footage. They found the place empty. The boards had been torn from the windows, the field churned up, and in the center of the property, a circle of vitrified soil burned down to the bone. Ezekiel Moore's body was never found, but nearby residents claim that on moonless nights, 3 lights still dance above Hollow Creek, hovering silently over the farm's ruins. And sometimes, carried by the wind, you can hear a rough, distant voice whispering, "They came from beneath the earth."